Brain freeze. Today we're going to be talking about brain freeze. It's happened to all of us in different circumstances. You're going along, you're speaking, you know exactly what point you're going to cover next, but when you get to it, that's brain freeze. Complete silence, you cannot form a single thought. All you seem to do is hear a rushing, roaring sound in your ears, and your eyes are as big as saucers because you're stuck. It's happened to all of us. But today we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at why it happens, because if we know why, we can sort it out. And we're going to have a plan or a strategy, should it happen, to help us get through it. This is easy, this is doable, and I guarantee if you follow this, you will never ever struggle with brain freeze again.
All eyes on me.
Hi, I'm Jane and welcome back to my channel. Yes, brain freeze can be terrifying and it can happen on both parts. You can be speaking, you're going along smoothly, and then suddenly you cannot remember what to say next. Your brain just vanishes on you and you feel like a deer in the headlights. It can also happen when you're not speaking and a question is thrown your way, and even though you know what the answer is, somehow you can't access it. You can't dig it out of your brain and it just won't come to your lips. So today we're going to look at all the reasons how we're going to deal with this. Let's start with the why. First thing is anxiety. Anxiety, when we're anxious, when we're stressed, it really causes brain freeze to occur far more often. So we need to follow those directions, look here, of how you deal with that fear or the panic. Number one. Number two is pacing. When you speak too fast, it gets to a point that your brain and your tongue become out of sync. They simply can't work at the same rate. They come out of sync and everything breaks down. So pacing is critical. Remember, slowing down gives your brain time to formulate the next thought. The third thing, and this is probably the one I've seen most in evidence, is when people try to memorize something. Now, this usually occurs in presentations, speeches, pitches, things where somebody wants to practice a body of work, they want to present something, they want to speak about something, so they memorize it. Unless you're an actor, a professional actor, it's really not the way to go. Because remember, when actors train, they're taught to do that. Also, if they miss a line, there's a prompt sitting at the footlights who's feeding them the next word. Now, unless you've got somebody tucked under the boardroom table feeding you your next line, chances are if you memorize it, you're going to hit a snag and you're going to derail and not remember how to get back to where you were. I do not advocate you memorize stuff. The last area is distractions. This is not such a dramatic thing, but I have seen it as well. When someone is going along, they're speaking beautifully, something untoward happens, it pulls their focus, and then afterwards they can't regroup. Now, as I say, this is not really typical, but it could be one of the reasons. So those are the 4 whys. Okay, let's have a look. What is our plan? Let's assume we're in the situation. We tried not to be anxious. We've done all the good points. We've set ourselves up for success, but somehow still we hit that massive roadblock and our brain just freezes up on us. So we need a strategy. We need a plan. The very first thing you do, and this is going to sound intuitive, is stop. Now you're sitting there thinking, well, I have stopped because my brain froze, so I'm not saying anything. So why am I stopping? No, this is you reclaiming control of this unplanned stoppage. So you're speaking, bang, up against a brick wall, don't know the next words. So what you do is you take control of that stop. Try not to babble, ramble, throw words into that air, random stuff. You are far better off stopping, just living with that brick wall for a split second. Then we breathe, relax our shoulders, and the key element here is drop your eye contact. I know, I'm always going on and on about eye contact. This is maybe the one situation where I definitely advocate you drop your eye contact. Why? Because if you keep looking at the group around you or the person opposite you, say it's an important client, if you look at them and you're going to see they want to know what you're doing, you're going to feel even more panicked and anxious. If you just drop your eye contact, look down at your notes, look down at a device, even just looking down will shut off that stimulus and help you reset your brain. So it's stop, intentional stop, pause, breathe, and break your eye contact. The next thing you can do, and these are all ways of working around it, this is our little techniques, is act as though it was intentional, right? Now this does take a little bit of skill, but if you've got it in your mind that this is an escape route, then the chances are you'll be able to pull that tool and use it when you need to. So when I say act as though it was intentional, I mean do something like reach for a glass of water. I mean, most of us now in businesses and in life walk around with water and jugs and coffee cups and mugs and things like that. So if you have one in your area, you can pause when this all shuts down, reach for it, take a mouthful. Again, this is going to calm you down. You're going to have to breathe when you drink. Swallow, calm down, and I guarantee it just jogs you back and gets you back on track. So no one's going to think it's weird. They're just going to think your mouth dried up and you reached for a mouthful of liquid. So you can do that. The other thing you can do is intentionally, if you're stopped, intentionally look down at your notes. It can be something as simple as you're looking for something on your laptop. You're maybe going to pull up a slide or a bit of evidence. Maybe you need to just refer to data or statistics to make sure you get that number exactly right. Fudge it a bit. Just try and do something that people are going to think is just part and parcel of your presentation. So that is also part of owning that pause, right? You're not stuck. So take it as a pause, regroup, look at your notes, check a device, anything that will just again bring you back into your space. Breathe. It'll get you out of that freeze and you can move forward. These are in your control and you can do them. The next thing we can do is we can buy ourselves time. Okay, so let's accept we're going along, we're talking, and just everything shuts down, right? We need to buy ourselves time. We know we've got that rest of that information up there. We're smart, educated people. We have it all there. It's just somehow frozen up for a second. So we buy ourselves time. We're kind to ourselves and we buy ourselves the time to give a little bit of a window for the freeze to thaw. When we're doing that, when we're buying that time for ourselves, the first thing we can do is repeat the very last point. Now, what I've noticed over the years, a lot of the time when a person hits brain freeze, they are perfectly able to recall what they just said. So you use it in a manner as though this is what you intended. So you're speaking along, you derail, completely freeze, you go to your first thing, drop eye contact, pause, breathe, then you look up and you say, I just want to repeat that again. I want to make sure everybody heard that. And just repeat the previous phrase. 90% of the time, that will just get you over that hump. It almost sets you up like that prompt in the footlights and will bump you along and you'll be able to continue. So buy yourself time. If the brain freeze happens when you're being asked a question, all you say to the person is, can I get back to you? That's a great question. I'd like to give that deeper thought. I'll get back to you. We know those techniques. Buy yourself time. The last two things that you can do is that you can throw the spotlight on someone else. That's when you need to just regroup to the point that you're taking, as I always say, that imaginary microphone and you're just handing it to somebody else so they can have the spotlight on them for a while you regroup and get yourself back to where you were. And that's a simple thing. You can look over at someone and say, Mike, you look a little confused. Can I clarify this? Wasn't I clear? Something like that. You can ask someone's opinion. You can say, oh, Vendra, I see, you're such an expert in this area. Maybe you could just jump in here and offer, right? So we just try to cover over it. We smooth over those edges and we move forward. Remember, these are all techniques to cope. But I want to go back and reiterate what I said in the beginning. If we can deal with those initial things, bringing down our stress levels, if we can be more aware of our pacing, slowing down, if we avoid memorizing stuff, chances are you won't get into brain freeze in the first place. But here you go. You know why it's happening. You've got the techniques to handle it, so you will move forward wiser and stronger. Please subscribe if you want to learn more about this, or put a comment in the boxes below, and I'll see you back next week.
All eyes on me.